As a bunch of P-car fanboys, we get together and talk about why we love Porsche so much.
I'm hooked. It's an addiction.
Let's talk about it. Mikey, when did you first get into Porsches?
With you. You picked me up to go to Cars and Coffee in your GT3, and again, maybe I was like the gentleman we were talking about. I was like, they're just Porsches. What are they? Like, they're a sports car. They're no Ferrari. They're no Lamborghini, because that's what you hear about when you think of supercars or something. I feel like they're talked about a lot more. But after driving with you, that was definitely like an eye-opening, like, oh, this is a really cool car. And then we went to a Cars and Coffee. We went somewhere, and I was following you on my Ducati, and you took off, I remember. And you pierced my ears through my helmet, and I was like, this is a cool car. I want one of these. And that's when I think took an interest in Porsche. For sure, I can say that's when I took an interest in Porsche. Because right away, I was like, you better help me find an RS. And we were looking at Jeff's RS, because he had his 997 for sale. Cool. And I kind of regret not buying that car. I wish I would have bought that car instead of the new RS.
I think he regrets selling that car.
Probably. But it goes along with like wanting the cool looking this and that, like the Ferraris and Lamborghinis. I think the point, or the 991 GT3 RS looks more like racy, right? You get the hood vent or the fender vents and all that stuff. And so my eyes, I'm like, oh, that's the one I want. It's a little more money, but I'll wing it. After learning about Porsche more, I would have much rather got the 997, like a manual, like full analog car. Would have been way cool. Would have scared me way more probably than the 991 RS.
Interesting.
But after learning about the heritage of Porsche and like researching more and getting involved, I would have went with 997 all day long.
What do you like about Porsche?
I feel like it's a car you have to drive. It has its safety features, but I still feel like it's you driving the car. Like, it can hurt you really quick. You want to go slow, it drives slow. It's comfortable. You want to go fast, it's instantly there. And the computer on it, like, as far as the PDK goes, like, even if you should shift down, but you didn't shift down, and you just mash it, the car's like, oh, we should shift, and it does it for you. Like, it's so smart and so dialed in that it shows, like, the heritage behind the brand, for sure. And there's not check engine lights. Big plus.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, that's one of the things about a Porsche is it's maybe not the flashiest car if you're comparing it to supercars,
right?
But it's engineered really well, and it's fairly inexpensive to maintain it, to keep it running. It's bulletproof.
Compared to others, yes,
always works, always starts. Yeah, I think about the people that build Porsche, because I think as a company, from the very top level guy down to the guy working on the factory floor, they just have an absolute passion for building these cars. And it's very focused on not being over-engineered, but everything is engineered from the perspective of an enthusiast and somebody that wants to get the most out of these cars and drive these cars and experience these cars. And that's the only way they get it to all come together is that passion. And then you look at the focus on the engineering, the quality of the engineering, the reliability of the car, and how it all comes together into like as you said, Mikey, like a precision driving experience, like a scalpel, like you feel everything, you hear everything, and then you have pure faith and confidence that it's never going to let you down, that you can beat the crap out of it on a.
It's like an expensive hand-built watch. Like, all the time goes into the inner parts of the watch. But that watch is never going to fucking break. It's always going to work. It's going to be on time to the millisecond. And all it takes is a little winding up in the morning, and it fucking works.
Yeah, they like, you watch a review, and it's like, say, a new model of a Porsche. Like, keep in mind, this thing just came out, and it hasn't even been out for a year or two. And the reviewer will say something like, yeah, I'm like the 8th guy that's reviewing this. And this thing has been on the track getting flogged for like 8 hours straight for the previous 8 days. And it doesn't matter.
Does what it does.
Like, the car's just perfect. And the reviewer's smart enough to recognize that. And he's basically saying, yeah, that's why I like Porsche.
Right. There's that. And also, I feel like, not a real reason why I like it, though, but compare the new GT3 RS that's coming out, right? The 992 RS. The numbers on it, it's it's not a big significant jump. They don't do like those horsepower jumps and all this stuff that I think every other car manufacturer does. Like the new model has an extra 100 horsepower. It's this much powerful. I think it's even slower, right? Than what the
No, it's faster. It's just less horse. It's two less.
yeah.
horsepower.
No, it's faster, but I'm saying they didn't use the numbers. It's all done in the engineering of the car, like what this car can do around a track, not what it does on a straight line or what it does on the streets. I think that also speaks highly of the brand. Like we're not here to make this numbers board where you're buying a Mopar with 800 horsepower. Like it does what it needs to do with the little power. We just engineered the downforce and everything else with the car.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about the subtle refinements. If you want, some people wouldn't consider them to be subtle. Some people would consider them to be outlandish when you look at like the engineering that went into the aero and
Right, on this new model.
Yeah. But it looks very much similar to all the same RSs, right?
It just looks like a fucking cup car that's legal now, basically.
But it's crazy. It's gorgeous. Everybody, I mean, they're $200,000-$300,000 over MSRP for the first cars that people are going to be able to get their hands on. And it's just, it's no gimmicks at all. It's just crazy refinement to the details that make this thing a ridiculous track weapon, right?
Yeah, like we already spoke about, like the whole philosophy of it just being evolutionary, not revolutionary. Just making those subtle incremental changes to make it better and better and better, rather than totally revamping it and going back to the drawing board and doing something else. And that's why it's been like one of the longest, tenured cars in history.
Let us know who we need to talk to next, what we need to talk about, and we hope to keep doing this.